Hello folks, and I hope you are all having an awesome day. And in this video, we will be discussing about structs, which is a very rusty concept. And if you're following the Rust book, you can find it in the fifth chapter. You can basically follow the first and second section, possibly what we will be covering today. And in case you are following my blogs, I also have a blog on structs and Rust, and this is precisely what we will be doing today. So let's come back to our VS Code and let's try to understand what is this struct. So, if you have done a little bit of programming in C, I'm sure you have come across struct, which is a way to group multiple data types to create one custom data type. And this is something similar that we have in Rust also. So, Rust doesn't have classes like C, but they have structs. So, let's try to create one struct and let's see how struct works. So, we will create a struct by using the struct keyword, and let's say we want to create one custom data type of a player. Let's say we are trying to create one multiplayer video game and we definitely need one player. And let's say this is the player that we are trying to define. So first of all, we all know that the player should be having one name. So this name will then be of the type string. So I will be giving colon string. And then let's say it's a two-dimensional game, or it could be 3D also. Let's consider it 2D for simplicity. So the player will be having one position in X. Let's say it's like one RPG like game like Pokemon. And this position X will be ideally a float, but for simplicity, let's give Y32, one in. And also it will be having one position Y, and let's give it I32. And actually, it could be basically integers also, like it's not coordinate geometry in a way. Like we can basically do everything with integers also. Like the games we have made using JavaScript, if you have watched those videos, so we were using basically whole numbers. Anyway, and then let's say the player will be having one full health, like health bar, something that we call HP. And this will again be of the type, let's say U16, because this cannot be negative, so we can use one unsigned integer. And lastly, let's say the player will be having one field called is alive, like the player is alive or dead. So this will be one type bool. And this is how we can define one struct called player. Now, the bigger question is, now that we have defined our struct, how can we use it? So in our main function, I will simply remove my println because it's not required. And here I can actually initialize my player with some value. So what I will do is I will create let player1, and here I will write player, and here I will give all of the fields their values. So first of all, I will write player name, and let's give one player name. And in Rust, we give strings like this. Why we do it like this, we will discuss later. But for now, you can simply follow along. And let's give the name John Cena. So our player is John Cena. Now John Cena will be starting from position of 0, 0. So position X and Y will be 0. And let's say John Cena has full health. So HP will be 100. And John Cena is alive. So is alive is true. Now this player one is a variable. So we should end with a semicolon. And now what we can do is we can also print out the individual fields. So I can write println, and I can actually treat each field as a separate value. So what I will do is do something like this. Player name, player1 name equals to an empty curly braces. And here I can use the dot operator. So player1 dot player name. And similarly, let's print out something else again. Let's print out the HP. So player1 HP equals to, instead of player name, I will give the HP. And now let me go inside structs and let me do a cargo run. And we have player one name equals to John Cena, and the HP is 100, that is full health. Now, if we have a mutable player, so for now this player one is immutable. So if we try to do something like this, let's say player one dot player name equals to string from, and I will give a different string. Let's give a new player, Prince Vegeta. And now if I do one cargo run, you will see that we have some errors, and the error is cannot assign to player1 dot player name, as player1 is not declared as mutable. Very clear message, and they're also giving the code snippet. So we have to make the player1 as mutable, and then everything will be valid. So now let me print before and after. Let me clear. and cargo run. And we have, first of all, John Cena, and then we have Prince Vegeta. So we are changing the player one name. That's all we are doing. And now we will see one best practice. So right now what we are doing is we are initializing our struct inside our main function and then giving some random values. But it's always better to use one populate function to populate our struct. So, and let's not basically do so much stuff inside our main function, like it becomes literally confusing. So what we can do is write a different function. Let me name the function as populate layer, and we will be doing everything inside this function. So let's say the populate player will be expecting two arguments. So the first argument will be the player name, which will be of the type string, and the next argument will be my HP, like the player's HP, which will be of the type U16, and it will return the struct of the type player. Now inside, what we have to do is basically do something like this without the semicolon because we are returning this value. So we will be basically doing this, and instead of string from whatever whatever, we will be giving the player name, and in place of HP we will be giving the HP, and let's say position X, Y, and is alive is true by default. And now what we have to do is we shouldn't be doing so many things. So what we need to do instead is player one equals to, we have to call our basically our function populate player, and inside we have to pass two arguments. So the first argument is string from, and we will pass John Cena, and then we will pass 100, and that's all. Now if I run once again, you will see that we have player name as John Cena, and HP is 100, and basically everything we have. Now, one thing to note is that inside our populate player function, we can also use one shorthand. So when the field name as well as the value name is same, we can basically write something like this. So this is one shorthand for the same thing. So now if I once again do cargo run, we will be getting the same result, and that's it. Okay. So now one more thing that we need to discuss, which is also very important, is that what we are doing right now is we have one player one, and we are populating our player one here in the populate player function, and we are basically using the dot operator and printing out each field, which is little bit hectic actually if you think about it, because we have to write 5 lines if we want to print everything, and we don't really want this thing, and we also have to know that what are the different fields by name. So there is actually a better way to print out the stuff we have inside our player, and for now it's little bit difficult for me to explain what I'm writing over here, but let me assure you we will be covering all of these things gradually. But for now, you can simply follow along. And now we will be commenting out these 2 lines, and instead, what we will be writing is something like this: println, and then inside we will be writing colon, and then hashtag, and then question mark, comma, player one. And let me just copy and also print this thing before. And now when I will do cargo run, you will see something very interesting. So our project is building, and as you can see, we have the same result but in a much better format. So we have player, and inside player, first of all, we have John Cena, and then we have Prince Vegeta. So what this thing is doing is it is basically going inside our player, and it is basically printing out all of the fields. So we don't have to know the fields, and we can only do whatever we want in 1 line instead of 5 lines, or if we have 10 fields, then 10 lines. So this is one shortcut, and this is something we will be using more rather than this dot 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 whatever we are doing here. Anyway, now one more thing that is something I just remembered we should discuss about is that what will happen if we want to, let's say, create a new player. So let's say we want to create a player two. Now we all know that what we will be doing is basically inside our populate player, we will be passing stuff. That's all. But let's say only one field is changing. Let's say only the name is changing, but other fields are same. Like other fields are as it is. So in that case, we can again do another trick. We will do player, and here let's say first of all in the player name, we will be giving a new string from, let's give hash hm, And let's say the other things are as it is. So we can do layer 1. We don't have one field for age. Otherwise, we had to pass two parameters that Ash Ketchum is 10 years old. Other fellows are not 10 years old. Okay, anyway, so right now we have two players. So the first player is John Cena, who is changed to Prince Vegeta, and then we have Ash Ketchum. And now let me also print out Ash Ketchum. So at the end, let me print out Ash Ketchum. So this will be player 2. And let me do another cargo run. And what do we have here? So we have John Cena, then we have Prince Vegeta, and lastly we have Ash Ketchum. And as you can see, all the other fields are same as the player 1. And we have declared Ash Ketchum in this way. And this double dot means the other fields will be same as it is. So these are different ways we can use structs, and there are many other ways also. Like there will be some functions associated with structs that we will be implementing using the IMPL keyword. But this is something I would like to discuss in the next video. For now, this is all that we need to know about structs, and we will be using structs a lot because since we don't have classes in Rust, everything we are doing in structs and enums and other things. So that's all about it, folks. And in the next video, we will be doing a little bit more struct. So make sure to smash that subscribe button, and I will see you next time.